Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Bati. Good morning, Vimbai. Rufai,
Good morning,
welcome
Rotus.
back, man.
Yes,
we begin, of course,
welcome
good morning to all our viewers, customers, clients out there. We start with oil. I have to race through this. Oil is up. It's not really about why it's being up. It's why. It's because of supply concerns. You've already gone through that massive attack of Ukraine on Russia. That is leading to concerns about Russia oil supplies. There's also the Iran nuclear deal. Iran says they'll reject it, so that means sanctions will remain in place. And then you've got Canadian wildfires leading to some oil facilities being closed in places like Alberta. So speaking of oil, we talked about Nigeria and how important oil is to Nigeria. President Tinubu mentioned oil is important because of foreign exchange inflows, but you also get foreign exchange inflows not only from foreign direct investment commitments that are on the front page of this thing newspaper, but also from foreign portfolio inflows. You have a chart, an FX chart. Look at the divergence from 2023 when the FX rate, no, let's go back to the chart, please. 400 naira in January 2023 versus 800. But because of these issues, there was a lack of FX in the nation. You can see the parallel market rates and the official rates both converging because of stability. So whether it is FPI or whether it is FDI, it is money that goes in. It is a cycle because the president has promised investors you can take your money in and you can take it out. And that is the reason why you see those lines converging there. Basically, the reforms from this administration have essentially brought stability to the FX rate. It is that simple. Moving on from there. Which argument? Asian markets are up.
Be ready.
The story here is that Korea, you talk your mind, but it has to be correct and factual. Korea is closed today because they are voting for a new president. If you look at the three, that's why the Korean markets are not trading today. Quickly looking at the three candidates, the gentleman to your left, Lee Jae-myung of the Democratic Party, based on polls, he is favored to win. China and the US, manufacturing has been contracting. For China, a 3-year low to 2022, 48.3 for the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. The same thing with the US. The ISM, Manufacturing Purchasing Managers, also contracting for a third straight month. Matthew, this is a senior US economist with Oxford Economics. He basically laid out what is going on with the US, saying that the outlook for the manufacturing sector in the US looks downbeat, particularly with the initial surge in demand from front-loading now behind us. Basically, there's a pause. Moving on from there, Caroline Leavitt yesterday said that the same China and US whose manufacturing sectors are contracting, she said that they are getting ready to talk. Now, this is only from the US side. She told journalists that indeed, according to the White House, Trump and Xi Jinping could make a phone call this week. Here she is.
She asked about the potential call with President Xi. I can confirm that the two leaders will likely talk this week. And as always, when there are foreign leader calls, we will provide a readout of those calls. So we'll see you guys.
Okay, and also, continuing in the news, Elon Musk is back at work. Big flurry of news since he left the White House. XAI is raising $300 million. It's a tender offer. This money is supposed to go to insider investors and employees of the company. This is supposed to validate the 113 billion group valuation that we saw in March. That's the 300 million share. They're also looking at raising debts, $5 billion that Morgan Stanley is supposed to be shopping to mostly hedge funds. It's a Term B loan, not a Term A. This is actually a little more risky, higher yield. Also, Neuralink, the company that Elon Musk founded, is supposed to put chips in people's brains who are paraplegic and allow them to work. Series E funding, $650 million. And finally, over in Africa, we touched on Nigeria, in Senegal. Woodside, the Australian energy giant, is making a complaint to the World Bank because they're saying that Senegal wants to tax them to their eyeballs. Our youngest African president, when he campaigned, said that he wanted more fair deals in the oil and gas space, and that is leading to an issue with this oil field that's been around. I think they took an 80% majority share back in 2016. That's our update. Oh yeah, Rufai, fire away.
Real quickly. Rotus, this is just what I'm saying.
Okay.
See.
On the FX in Nigeria, right?
No, I'm talking about foreign direct investment. Can you tell me our foreign direct investment inflows in the first quarter in 2014?
That was 10 years ago.
Yes.
It was about, what, 7, 8?
7 what?
Or 8. Can't remember, that's 10
7
years
or 8.
Yeah.
No, foreign in the first quarter, 2014.
And you divide by 4 now. So if you divide 7 or 8 by 4 quarters, maybe 2 to 3 billion.
Okay. What is our foreign direct investment inflows in the first quarter 2025?
Less than, I think it was about 300 million or so.
1.2 billion and 300 million.
Okay.
Is that not been a plummeting?
What do you mean by plummeting?
doesn't that mean the figure has reduced drastically over the years?
Yes, we know that this is factual.
So FDI, has it reduced or not?
Yes, it has reduced.
Sefini Laba, I yield the floor.
What's the point you're trying to make?
Move ahead.
FPIs are in. That is the reason why the chart is narrowing.
Move ahead. At least you've confirmed to me on radio, on TV today that FDIs has plummeted over the years. Remember, you can have the floor. I made my point.
Fine,
here.
okay. Your point is made.
I'm quite interested in Senegal, especially with the level of fanfare that Diomaye Faye came in with. I believe most of us supported him, especially given the context of that election. What I found interesting is that, in essence, the dispute is tax. And he says that his administration reviewed the contracts, and upon reviewing, last year determined that Woodside would have to pay an additional 62.5 million euro in tax. And he also made a commitment to review all oil-related contracts that were done prior to his administration coming in, which I think is fantastic, because we already know from what we see in Nigeria that the oil sector is a place where there's a lot of, shall I use Aliko Dangote's expression and say mafia-related activities happening. Excuse me. Now, I want to contrast this with what's happening here in Nigeria, where the president has signed an executive order where, in essence, he's going to be reducing some of the tax, the tax incentives, and putting a cap. Although it'll have a cap, yes, 20%. But in essence, we're going to be reducing the tax that's going to be coming in from oil activities. So I thought it was just quite interesting to see the two presidents' different approaches, where one president is saying that these oil giants are they're doing too much, they make all the money. We don't even really know in the Senegal's context, I don't even really know the full context of some of their contracts, because their contracts preceded me, but he's doing an audit and he says something is not right. You guys need to be remitting more money into this economy, and more Senegalese people need to be feeling the impact of the fact that this is an oil-producing country, which I think is fantastic. So it will be interesting to see how our strategy here in Nigeria to try and reduce the tax burden for the international oil companies, for oil companies in general, to try and stimulate investment and generate business activities, to see which of these two strategies is actually going to be more fruitful for the people. I'll be sitting here with a front row seat to see how it goes.
I bet on Nigeria's to work and Senegal's not to. Yeah.
Very quickly, Elon Musk, yes. We're told Neuralink, they have a funding round of about $650 million, which they have announced. Increase in Tesla in Norway, to be specific, by about 213%. But the question is this as a result? Is there a direct link between Elon Musk leaving government, leaving the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, and this, jump in his companies?
Yeah.
However, what we know is that since he announced that he will return to his basic work, there's been greater optimism on the side of investors and shareholders in his companies. Tesla alone lost about 14% in the last 1 year, and then the political backlash. But the question to ask, as I raised it the other time, is what is the future for Elon Musk, particularly as Donald Trump, President Trump, says, he's not really leaving, he will be in and out. That's about that. Yeah. Now, oil. Now, the factors you left out is that on Saturday, OPEC Plus, 8 members of OPEC Plus, led by Saudi Arabia, decided to increase in July, production by 411,000 barrels per day, which is what they've done. May, June, they'll do it again in July. So that's steady. And that is what is responsible for the raise, above 3%, 3.85% with WTI, 3.9%, 3.65% on, what is it on? Brent crude.
Brent crude, yeah.
So Brent crude is $64.85, WTI is 62 point whatever per barrel at the moment. The other thing is that rig count in the U.S. has been falling since May. It's only in the Permian Bay that you have, some production still going up. But there's a leveling up of, production in the United States. President Xi Jinping and U.S. Donald Trump president they're supposed to meet. Besant says there's likely to be a meeting,
particularly
over the fight over the Geneva deal, which both sides are saying, oh, you have violated it. This one is saying you have violated it. And then the issue about steel tariffs, which President Trump has unilaterally said is going to increase from 25% to 50%.
Right.
So apart from China, U.S. is also saying it will have a meeting with India, which is its largest trading partner, even if India has a trade surplus over the United States.
Right.
Those are some of the issues.
Indeed.
We're expecting non-farm payrolls.
Tomorrow.
On Friday.
Oh, no, Friday, excuse
on
me.
Friday.
I'm jumping ahead. Friday.
Non-farm payrolls, which is the preferred Federal Reserve gauge of inflation.
At the end of the tariff 90 days.
Exactly.
The 90-day window.
Maybe he's going to pause again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.